Today I'll be taking the Acela and Northeast Regional trains business class to and from Philadelphia. I'll share with you an in-depth look at each train, its advantages, disadvantages, amenities, if any, and why I personally consider one to be better than the other, while the opposite may be true for many travelers. So here in the beautiful Union Station of our nation's capital, another one of my train journeys just began. Walking into the station during the most wonderful time of the year definitely adds some extra joy, as colorful decorations and music immerse you in the spirit of travel. I wish I could spend more time soaking in the station's charm, but time was of the essence, as my train was already boarding. So I could not look around the East Hall or tracks this time. By the way, it seems like the Floridian, the train I took last time, is once again delayed. 3 hours late to DC and nearly 6 hours late to Miami. Yikes. Anyway, walking past the station's new waiting area, which now has controlled access, I simply made my way to the gate with the most crowd. Here, if you thought business class meant priority boarding like on airplanes, you'll be disappointed because there's only business and first class on Acela, making the business class the lowest available fare. At least every seat is reserved in advance, so there's no need to rush to find the best available seat. So after taking some pictures of the train, I made my way past the first class and to the business class quiet car. Why the quiet car, you might ask? Well, here's the quiet car, and here's the regular car. I wanted a little peace and quiet at least for the first 30 minutes to be able to easily look around the car, so the choice was obvious. All business class cars come with tables for 4 and double-seaters for 2. If you're hoping for complete single seats, you are out of luck unless you are in the first class. Even then, there are only a couple of them, with only exception being the accessible seat, which is located in every other car. I picked 3A, the window seat. Let's take a look, shall we? First, every seat has an overhead bin like you'd see on airplanes, which I think is slightly more spacious. Do note, however, this rail between doors will likely get in the way of extra large items. For those, you can find extra luggage space at either end of the car, where you also find 2 restrooms, one larger accessible and one regular restroom, both of which had hand dryers. Ooh. Sitting down, you will quickly realize, once again, business class here does not mean luxury. I can't wait to try the new Acela. That said, seats are decently padded, fairly tall, and comes with a footrest in front of you. But power outlets by the footrest can be a hassle. And don't be surprised if you find an Excalibur in front of you. Some tray tables work just fine, while some require you to stand up, take a deep breath, focus, and there we go. The tray is size of a shield, larger than any I've seen on planes. You'll also see a seat pocket which is only accessible when the tray is down. I'll need to bring some earbuds to test the music next time. For now, let's just try the recline button. Recline wasn't substantial, but it felt just about right. By the window was a curtain, air vents below, and finally, reading lights above. Just as I was finishing my exploration, I'm happy to report that we departed right on time. Goodbye, Washington, D.C. I'll be back. As I was looking around out the window, I discovered a hidden luggage space. Make sure you leave out the fragile stuff.
The cafe car is not open. The cafe car is not open.
Fruit snacks are yummy too, but let's go see what Cafe Acela has to offer. Set in the center of the train with bar stools, but without any tables, menus range from light snacks to fresh selections. I attempted to make a cinematic video walking back with my food in hand, but make sure you hold on to the rails above because barely 6 minutes into the ride, the train can go as fast as 126 miles per hour. At least the doors were sensor operated this time, unlike my past experience. So I got the artisan cheese and fruit tray for $13. No, it was not part of an amenity. It includes 3 kinds of fruit, 3 different cheeses, and 3 pieces of naan bread with compote. Each and every bite was a joy, with my favorite being the brie cheese. Do note, consuming any hot, soup-based food may come with some risks of high-speed travel. 35 minutes into travel with a 5-minute delay, we arrived in Baltimore. Of course, this 5-minute delay would still be way quicker than driving, which takes an hour even with absolutely no traffic. Sitting on the right side as usual, I was able to see Baltimore's skylines and Martin State Airport featuring C-130 transport for our amusement. Another passenger joined me here, so I mostly kept to sightseeing outside. This is Havre de Grace, known for its historic waterfront views. This is also when I recorded the highest speed of today's train as we approach Northeast. Yes, the town's name is literally Northeast.
You should stop Wilmington, Delaware. Wilmington's your station stop.
Here in our second stop, Wilmington, Amtrak's corporate presence is very well known. This is also an indicator of pending arrival. By now, it's almost been an hour and a half, and though a direct flight may take only an hour, considering the extra time through the security, the distance of airports, really make the train more efficient method of travel. So, an hour and 34 minutes ride with just 2 stops and a 3-minute delay came to an end here at Philadelphia. Safely avoiding the biggest gap between the platform I've ever seen, I stepped off my first business class train of today's travel. In case you're wondering why I didn't show any amenities, it's because there is none. Acela's biggest advantage is the speed and number of stops. Those looking to travel from one major city to another, like myself this time, will definitely benefit the most from this train. The next business class train, the Northeast Regional, will offer a very different experience catered to similar yet different crowd. Getting up from the platform and into the station, I, instead of traveling back the same day, explored amazing Philadelphia, enjoyed some cheesesteak, and spent the night before getting back to the station. Welcome back to William H. Gray III 30th Street Station. Man, that was hard. Let's get going, shall we? Not much has changed since yesterday here in Philly. Just wait until you see Washington, D.C. Union Station. Now, neither the Acela nor Northeast Regional train's business class ticket comes with a lounge access at either station. But I had a lounge access coupon that was about to expire, so I took a little break here in Philadelphia's Metropolitan Lounge. Now, that leaves Chicago's Metropolitan Lounge the only one that I have not been to yet. We'll see it soon. Did you know that back in the 50s there used to be a pinball arcade to help passengers pass the time? Oh, the great 50s. One of the biggest benefits of this lounge is a direct access to the platform, which would have allowed me to see the train come in under normal circumstance. Do you see that? No, not the time, but my hand, my bare hand. Realizing I left behind my gloves, I sprinted back to the lounge in a desperate search. Unfortunately, they were nowhere to be found. Happy, thank you. Luckily, the lounge attendant got me back on the elevator and I was able to board the train as the last passenger on board. Yeah, like literally the last one. Within a minute, the train was on the move. I walked through the coach class, which has the least legroom in the entire Amtrak train network. Of course, that's still more than most airplanes. Eventually, I made it to the business class car. It was the last car of the train, which can offer some of the most unique and interesting trailing views on some trains, but that wasn't the case here. Unlike Acela, there is only one business class car, with rest being the coach. Note that seats are divided in half and they face opposite directions. My initial seat today was 1A, the very first row with nothing in front of me, giving me the extra legroom. Unfortunately, nothing in front also meant no tray table, which is attached to a backside of a seat. Towards the front of the car, where the doorway light is much brighter than that of hallway light, there were two restrooms again, one larger accessible and one regular. The biggest unimaginable difference here was the lack of hand dryers. Sitting down, this is how I look. There wasn't any noticeable difference in level of comfort, but the lack of center armrest was definitely noticeable. There was this tiny space that separated the seats though. This car was empty. Like, there were about 10 riders out of possible 60 some seats, for which I'm sure the price was a huge factor. In addition, this business class car with double seaters is not the best in its class. Previously, I've been on cars with 2-1 configuration where you can get an extra large lounger style chairs that even feature a leg rest in addition to regular footrests. So, as far as level of comfort goes, this business class is a little lacking. I changed my ticket to try non-first row and I noticed it reclines a little more than Acela, which can be good or bad, going both ways. The tray table was definitely smaller, but the seat pocket was accessible whether I had the table up or down. Under the similar curtain were 2 power outlets by the window. Above is a very different luggage space than that of Acela's. There is a rail, but that's it. This train runs nowhere near as fast as Acela, but it still goes well above 100 miles per hour. As darkness was in the way of sightseeing, I made my way to the cafe car instead to get my free amenity. Ta-da! Yes, business class passengers are entitled to 1 non-alcoholic beverage unlike Acela riders. Now, does that justify 10 or even $50 more of fare difference? So Acela's advantage is fewer stops, and this is the full list of stops for Northeast Regional.
Our next scheduled stop is BWI Airport, BWI Bergamosh Airport.
Of course, not every train makes every stop, but it will always make more stops than the Acela, allowing passengers to board from non-major cities. Being the most frequent train in the entire network, there's higher chance of things going wrong too. Luckily, power was restored within a minute and we started moving without any issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is always my pleasure servicing you. I look forward to servicing you once again aboard Amtrak. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. It's always a pleasure having friendly staff on board.
Final stop, Washington, D.C., Union Station. Final stop coming up next. Please take this.
After 2 hours and 2 minutes, I arrived relatively promptly. I was pretty lucky here because this same train arrived 2.5 hours late the day before. Yeah, on this day. And the tree's gone. Aw. Well, guess I'll have to wait until next year for a selfie. If you'd like to see my first class experience on Acela, click here. If you'd like to see the coach and 2-1 business class of Northeast Regional, click here. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.